and welcome to Relationship Soup. I'm your host, Lisa Hughes. Happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. How y'all doing today? How was your weekend? How's your week been? How's life been? Now listen, I know it's been a minute, right? But life be life and things be happening, and sometimes you just got to step away. But we're going to get into that in a minute. So how y'all doing? I hope that you are doing well. I hope that life is blowing you kisses. I just hope that, all is well for you. Yeah, I know it's been a minute, y'all. I'm telling y'all, when I tell you life be life and it be life, but beauty for ashes is a very real thing. So let me go ahead and get into this because we got some catching up to do and all of that. And I have a very dynamic guest that is in the studio with me today that's going to be sharing some knowledge and wisdom with us. So the show still works like it always has. It just, we just took a little break. Sometimes you need a little breather so you can come back better, right? So anyway, I just want to thank every single person for pulling up. So whether you're watching me live, the replay, catching us on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, I see you, I love you, and I appreciate y'all. So y'all, thank y'all so much for just logging in and for your patience and support. I'm telling you, look, let me just say this, okay, before I do my housekeeping. All right, so I had to step away due to an emergency situation, right? Some things were like, my mom, there was an emergency, had to rush her to the hospital, scared me because y'all know that's my heart, right? So I just want to say thank you for your prayers, for your well wishes, for checking in and all of that, because she's well. She's on the mend right now. So just thank y'all so much for praying, for reaching out and all of that. And she appreciates you too. She always be like, hey, tell my peoples, thank you. Like y'all her peoples now, right? Y'all not my community. Y'all her community too. She didn't claim all of y'all. Like she didn't claim y'all as sons and daughters and everything, right? Friends, BFFs, you name it. Y'all her community too. So she really appreciates you. I appreciate y'all. And I genuinely love y'all for real, because y'all ain't have to do it. I just feel like anytime I'm showing love or getting love, that's God in manifestation. You hear me? So I always appreciate the love. I don't turn it down. I don't turn down no love. I love some love. I love love, right? All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and get into some housekeeping before I bring my guest on. Comment and let me know y'all here. Now, look, I know that y'all ain't holding no grudges, because the last episode, when I went on a couple weeks ago, I wasn't really able to bring y'all on some of y'all comments on, but don't judge me, okay? I'm gonna bring them on. You hear me? I'll bring them on today. So if y'all let me know that y'all in the studio, I will bring them on and shout y'all out like I normally do. But y'all already know I got to do some housekeeping, all right? Got to do some housekeeping. All right, so first, y'all already know it. Same thing. YouTube. Follow us. Subscribe on YouTube. It's Relationship Soup, period. If you don't put the period, you're going to be somewhere else, right? You ain't going to be in the right place. And if you want to join the forum, I'm giggling. Y'all be doing the most in that forum sometime, right? RelationshipSoupGroup. Come join the forum, right? We still strong. We still thousands and thousands strong. So come on, get in the room, right? If you want to follow me, it's RelationshipSoupLLC. All right. So look, and of course, listen now. Hello, me, right? Hello, me. I am just so over the moon with this. When I tell you that the love is still happening with Hello Me, it really is. Hello Me, for you, those of you that don't know, is my children's book of affirmations, right? Look, y'all got to get into this. Y'all got to get into it, right? The illustrations are absolutely beautiful. This is an positive affirmation book. It's 100 pages, and it just teaches children to speak life, to have a positive image of self, because let's just be real. This life, y'all know how life is, right? Even when life was happening, over these 2 weeks, I had to say, hello, me. Like, seriously. I mean, I'm at a point where I am in this journey. I am truly saying, hello, me. So let's start these babies off sooner. Let's start them with positive affirmations, the power of words, right? So they can get through this life when life presents them adversity, because we already know how life is going to be. Hello, Me is available on various platforms, including Amazon. And you can also DM me, hit me up. I've been signing these authors' copies and I've been getting them out. So look, hey, if you want one, please let me know. And especially if you're local where I am, we can arrange some things. So Hello Me. You can get it on Amazon or through me. All right. All right. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and bring on a few of your comments before I bring on my very dynamic guest. I've been waiting for this. And so let me go ahead and bring on a few comments and then we'll go ahead and get into it. All right. So let's see. Jay Desiree, cuz you don't miss. You do not miss because you be here, right? You are here and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me, fam. I really appreciate you. What's up, Mr. Underwood? What's up? What's up? Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Cousin Kim. I appreciate you. Thank you for your prayers, and they are felt. Okay, y'all prayers are truly felt. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate you. Oh, thank you so much, Cousin Melvin. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you, Tonality Records. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Mama Hughes, she appreciates it. And prayer, love, and light to you and your mother as well. I hope that she is doing better. Yes, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday, right? Hey, it's going to be a happy Tuesday. All right, so let's see here. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so basically, we were starting a series called The Major Keys, right? And so this series is just basically where I'm talking to very dynamic women that are entertainers. They're making major strides in the community some kind of way. So we're going to continue that series. And this is episode 102. And this is actually called Major Keys to Purpose, Power, and Reinvention with Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Yes, Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Okay. Ain't no plaything, right? Dr. Lawson has done so much, and she actually helps others with their dreams to help their dreams to come into fruition as well. She's in the community. She's just dynamic all around. I'm just giving you that little Costco sample about Dr. Lawson before I bring her on. Okay. So I'm very excited about this and just so grateful for her patience because, I had to kind of move some things around, dealing with my mom and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, today's guest, she embodies journey. Okay. She's not just talking about transformation. She's lived it from serving her country. Thank you for your service to building a purpose-driven business. She understands what it means to pivot with intention and lead with strategy. How powerful is that? How powerful is that? That is so powerful. So she's definitely going to plant some seeds, and the show still works as per usual. If you have any questions, whatever, bring them on, right? I'm going to bring them on. I ain't going to forget y'all this time. Listen, don't judge me from the last time. I'm going to bring on your questions. Okay. So if you've ever been feeling stuck, uncertain, or ready for your next level, this conversation is going to be for you. So without further ado, let's get into these major keys with Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Hi, doctor. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Yes, I am well. Do you hear me? I am doing fantastic. I cannot complain. Life is good. Life is absolutely good.
Well, I am so loving your vibe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Look, I was hoping I still had, because I took a couple weeks off. Okay. I was like, oh, let me balance. I gotta take care of mama and get some things together. So
I get it.
Absolutely. All righty. So thank you so much for joining me. Would you please tell my listeners a little something about you?
Sure. Well, as you've already said, my name is Dr. Rhonda Lawson. I am a book coach. I'm an AI strategist. I'm an author and I'm an editor. And also, as you said, I am a proud United States Army veteran. I served my country for 23 years. And I'm also a mother. My daughter is now serving her country. She just joined the Army herself, so I'm very proud of her. And I'm happy to be sitting in front of you today.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you for your service, and thank your daughter for her service as well. That is such a sacrifice. So I'm always grateful when I cross paths with people that have served the country. So, all right, so let's see here. So, and when I read, because Lucky referred you to me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to talk to Dr. Lawson because I have my book and I've started my publishing company and stuff. I was like, I was so excited about this interview.
Yeah, I saw your book. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Look. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I definitely will be in contact with you because I'm always open to, strategy and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's some people in my audience as well that will be interested in your services as well. So let's see here. So one of my questions I have is many people struggle with reinvention. Okay. What are some major keys to successfully starting over or pivoting in life? Like, what would your advice on that?
Well, I think sometimes it's not really starting over. Sometimes it's just taking an inventory of what you've accomplished and just redefining that. For instance, looking at let's look at myself, for instance. I retired from the Army. And sometimes when you look back on something like that, like, okay, well, I didn't do anything but serve in the Army. And I'm like, I don't think that's all a big deal. But then somebody else looks at that and says, wow, you served in the United States Army. That's wonderful. Tell me about some of your adventures. What are the things that you saw? And then you start to tell that person the things that you saw while you were serving. And they say, wow, that's amazing. And you're like, wow, that is amazing. I'd never thought about it like that. So maybe I could write about that, or maybe I could tell people about those things. So what you're doing is you're actually reframing your experiences and turning those experiences into lessons. And you may wind up finding out that you can actually teach those lessons to someone else. So what you thought was no big deal winds up being a very big deal to somebody else. So take an inventory of what you've accomplished and write them down. Think about what it is that you've done, and you may not think that you've done anything all that special, but believe me, there is somebody out there who wishes they would have accomplished what you have taken for granted. So write those things down. Think about all that you've been able to do, and then you're actually going to surprise yourself with what you actually have accomplished. And then when you do that, maybe you could turn that into a book of your lived experiences. And then you can take that book and turn it into a platform. Maybe speaking engagements. Maybe you can turn it into a YouTube channel. Maybe you can turn it into a business. Maybe you can turn it into consulting. There are so many different things that you can do with it, and it's all based on your lived experience.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And it's something when you write down what you've done, because you really do tend to, because I think I'll just say, even for me, talk about myself, I'm like, but when you write it down, it's like, wow. So I think that's really excellent. Excellent advice.
And I'll give you an example. I have a friend. She was my sorority sister, and she's an engineer. And she called me one day and said, I'm going to be looking at retirement in a few years, and I want to encourage young girls to get into my field. There are not a lot of Black women in my industry, and I want to encourage more girls of color to get into my industry. And I've been trying to think of ways to do it. And I think I might want to do it as a children's author. I want to write a children's book. And she actually took that idea to write a children's book, and she turned it into an entire platform. It went from being just a children's book to a children's book series. And then she took that series and turned it into a foundation, and took the foundation and actually turned it into a YouTube channel. So she actually built built on that platform and turned it into something huge where she could encourage young girls of color to get into STEM related programs to maybe one day become engineers.
Wow.
And she did that just based on her own experience getting into STEM related programs and becoming an engineer herself, just thinking about her own experiences.
That's awesome. That's amazing. That is amazing. Um, what role do you feel relationships play in personal and professional growth?
Now, when you say relationships, are you talking romantic relationships, family relationships, or friendships?
All.
Okay. Um, well, I think no matter what type of friendship, relationship, family relationship you're talking about, I would say that you have to surround yourself with people who are going to pour into you. When you surround yourself with people who are only taking from you, or who are only discouraging you instead of encouraging you,
Mhm.
you are going to find yourself never believing that you can do it. Um, I call them dream killers. No matter what you want to do in life, they're going to tell you why you can't do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
They're going to tell you why it can't be done. They're going to tell you, well, you're black and I have never seen a black person be able to do that. Or you're a woman and women can't do this.
Mhm.
Or you're poor and poor people can't do this. Or you're this and you can't do that. And they can tell you a million reasons why it can't be done, but they can't give you one good reason why you can do it. And when you surround yourself with people like that, you're going to start to believe those things. You're going to start to internalize that, and you're going to believe, just like they do, that you can't do it.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when you surround yourself with people who say, why not you? You're going to see those same things as something different. So instead of you're poor, um you can't do it, they're going to say, well, yeah, you don't have the money, but why can't we find the money? Or you're a woman, but why can't a woman do it? Or you're black, but why can't we find programs that specialize in helping minorities find these opportunities? So
Absolutely.
what we're doing is we're taking these same things that some people say are blocks to success, and we're making them stepping stones instead of blocks.
Love that.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just who you surround yourself with. So I believe that relationships are very important. It just depends on who you surround yourself with. It depends on how a person will how a person pours into you and encourages you.
Mhm.
I will tell you, when you have somebody who believes in you just as much as you believe in yourself, or sometimes even more than you believe in yourself, it takes you way further than you might not ever believe.
I believe that. Hmm. I totally agree with that. Relationships are so important, and I'm all about support, like having a support group, and that was the main reason. One of the main reasons why I started Relationship Soup, just to have for some individuals to actually have that foundation for a support, right?
Yes,
Sometimes people don't have it, and who you surround yourself, who you expose yourself, who's speaking life into you is so important. You know, professional growth, even personal growth. So I totally agree. Uh,
absolutely.
Absolutely. So let's see here. So you lead a purpose-driven company, I'd say. How important is clarity of purpose when building something meaningful?
Um, I would say it's huge because there is a such thing as a big picture person and a person who is really into the details. And both of those people are important. Sometimes it's great to have that big picture person, because that's the person I think I'm sometimes that big picture person. I
Mhm.
know what I want. I know I see the vision. But sometimes I need that person who's into the weeds, into the details to kind of ground me. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they're going to throw water on my fire, but they're going to be the ones to tell me all of the small steps that I need to get to that big picture.
Mhm.
But sometimes that person who's looking at all of the details will stop you from getting to that big picture, because they're so busy in the details that they'll never get to the big picture. That's why I said it's important to have both of them in your life. You need the big picture person, but you need the little detail person as well. They've got to be able to work together,
Absolutely.
because one is going to stop the other. One is too flighty, and the other one is just that person is waiting for the stars to align and everything to be just right. And they'll never let you get anywhere, because they're always going to stop you. No, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. No, we don't.
Absolutely. I,
Yeah, they'll stop you from doing everything.
like, hold up. Look at this. And balance. Balance is so important.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you've got to have balance. You've got to have balance. But like I said, it's always good to have a little bit of both, because sometimes I'm that person to say, okay, this is what I want. Okay, what are the steps that I need to take to get there?
Mhm.
I need that person who's going to ground me and tell me what the steps I need to take to get there. But at the same time, when I take those steps, don't find 9 other steps that I need to take now.
Don't move that goalpost. Like, don't move it.
Yes, please do not move the goalpost. You told me where the goalpost is. Let me work toward that goalpost.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. So let me ask you this. So if there's someone like one of my listeners, say they feel stuck right now. Okay, they're feeling stuck, like, I'm just, I don't know how to move. I'm stuck. What is one strategic step they can take to move forward, would you say?
Well, I think the first thing to do is find out what it is that you really want. And I think that goes back to what I said at the beginning, writing it down.
Hmm.
Just as it says in the Bible, to write the vision and make it plain. Really sit down and find some clarity. The first thing to do is to pray.
Hmm.
Ask God for that clarity that you need, and then sit down and write down that vision.
Hmm.
And you may find yourself writing a book. You don't know.
True.
Yeah. And or it may not be a book. And I tell people a lot that writing takes so many different forms. It may not be writing a book. It could be writing a movie. It could be writing a song. It could be writing a poem, or it could just be writing a Substack article.
Hmm.
Um, Whatever. It's just writing it down. But once you've prayed for clarity and you've written it down and you've made it plain, once you've done that, then you kind of know what to do. You can take a step away from it, maybe go for a walk, and then come back and take a look at it. And sometimes I've had to do that. I've had
Hmm.
to write it down and then get away from it for a minute and then come back with clear eyes. And when
Hmm.
I've come back with clear eyes and a clear mind, I was like, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was trying to see. And then I've known where to go. And another thing I often tell my clients is that not only do you want to write it down, I tell them to go real old school with it. So um, if you remember when you were in school, probably in elementary school, maybe middle school, if you remember, they would tell you to write your main idea in the middle of a piece of paper and then draw a circle around it. And then you would take you would write out little rays from the circle, and then you remember that?
Yes, I
And
do.
then,
I do.
yeah, and then you would write the sub ideas on the little rays. I
Yes.
like, and when you do that, it may be old school, but it is a great way to brainstorm. So if you write that main idea, whatever it is, whatever that main idea it could be fashion. I don't know, maybe fashion is your thing. You write down fashion in the middle of your paper and put that circle around it. Now, okay, what about fashion? Sewing. What else about fashion? Thrifting. What else about it? Hair. Write out those little things. And then what about hair? Hairstyling, braids, weave, whatever it is. And then find out which one of those rays had the most sub ideas. Maybe that's how you find out which one it is that you're leaning toward. You'll find out, maybe that's how you'll figure out where your passion lies, because that's where where most of your ideas came from.
Absolutely.
And then once you find out that's where you're leaning toward, maybe you start to you'll start to focus there a little bit more, and that might be where you want to go. Maybe that might be your business. Maybe that might be your foundation. Maybe that might be the book that you want to write, because that's where you see more of your focus going toward.
That makes sense. And I actually used that tool, if you will, right, to actually manifest. I use that when I want to manifest something too, just drawing a circle, those rays and different things like that. So yeah, you bought that back, because I remember doing that in school, and yeah, I absolutely remember that. So all right, so let's see here. Let me see. Okay, so as an editor and strategist, you help others bring their vision to life, right?
Yes.
What's a common mistake people make when trying to execute their ideas?
The biggest mistake that people make, well, there are a couple of them. The first thing they do is think that they have to have a full book as soon as they sit down. They think that the finished product is supposed to just magically appear as soon as they sit down, and they kind of psych themselves out. And so if I tell them something like for instance, a few years ago, I curated an anthology, and I told them that the story needed to be no longer than 10,000 words. The first thing they said was, 10,000 words? I can't write 10,000 words. I'm like, you haven't even written 10 words yet. Why are you panicking? Let's write the story. You don't know if you can get to 10,000 words yet because you haven't started writing the story.
Absolutely.
So just start writing. Just start where you are and start writing. And then once you get it out, then you can go back and make corrections. You can add where you need to add. And next thing you know, you'll have those 10,000 words. But if you just think that you're going to have 10,000 words right away, no, it's not going to happen. So don't think that as soon as you sit down, you're going to have a finished product. It's not going to happen. Now, the next mistake that people make is comparing their first draft to somebody's 50th draft. So you look at somebody's complete book. Let's say this book right here. We don't know how many iterations, how many edits this book may have gone through.
Exactly.
You have written your first draft, and you're trying to compare it to this finished product. This finished product has probably gone through a first draft, a second draft, a third draft. It was probably sent to an editor. The editor went through a first round of edits, maybe a second round of edits. Then it was sent back to the writer. The writer had to go through it again. So that was probably 6, 7, 8 more edits. And then then a proofreader probably had to go through it to make sure that there were no typos. That was a lot of edits. That was a lot of rounds of edits. And you're sitting here comparing your first draft to this finished product.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not fair to yourself.
Right.
You're not giving yourself any grace by doing that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see here. So we have a comment. So Tenali Record says, perpetual process is the catalyst to provision. Production in any capacity has its ebbs and flows, but it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing that ebbs and flows, I will say that when I was working on my dissertation, there were times when I felt like giving up.
Mm-hmm.
There were times I felt like, why am I doing this to myself? There were some times I was in a flow. I was like, yes, I'm getting so much work done. I was just at it. And then there were times where I was just staring at my computer like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what to write next. I'm like, I've done it all. I don't know what else to do. But my SME was saying there's still some more work to be done. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I have nothing left to give. I'm like, I want to give up. I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I've definitely been there too. And what the process has taught me is like when I don't have nothing and I give myself that grace to, okay, so you don't have nothing today, that's okay. And when you come back to it and then you flowing and it's just like, well, I'm glad I didn't write nothing the next day because this is good, right?
Yes, yes.
That is so important because I'm that person. Like I needed to have everything together like when I really first start writing and stuff. And now it's just like, oh no, okay, I'm gonna step away. But when I come back, that's when everything's gonna come together and it's gonna flow and it's gonna be the right time, right place, so.
Yes. And I would say this too, to all when I was talking about giving yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm.
I am a vast believer that writing does not always mean the act of writing. When there are times where I tell when I tell people I'm writing where I'm not actually writing, I might be researching, I might be reading over what I've written the day before. I might be I might be brainstorming, trying to decide what I want to write next. All of that is a part of my writing process. So just because I'm not physically typing or writing in my manuscript does not mean that it's not part of writing. So I think sometimes people think because they're not actually writing that they're not writing.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's contributing to your writing process, whether it's editing, whether it's researching or reading over what you've done before, that's still a part of writing. So give yourself some grace.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. And I'm actually covering the 3x3 writing process in one of my one of the classes that I teach, and that is so important. That's all a part of it. And you forget about that sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a part of the process. So absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, so let me ask you this because I want to come back to you. Okay. What has been the biggest lesson? Because you've worn so many hats: veteran, mom, author, entrepreneur. So, what has been the biggest lesson in navigating those transitions? Would you say the biggest lesson?
Um, besides giving myself some grace and knowing how to rest. Yeah, that's been a big one, is giving myself some grace because I go and I go and I go, and sometimes I don't always know how to relax. And there was a time where I felt guilty just laying down and watching TV or laying down and just taking some rest. I felt like I had to justify resting, and I shouldn't have to justify resting. That was a part of it, is justifying resting, or giving myself some grace. Another part was delegating. I had to learn how to delegate. And I know a lot of people think that AI is the devil. AI to me has been a huge blessing, because I have and I was talking about this last night. I have two assistants. I have a producer for my podcast, and I have a personal assistant who helps me with a lot of things. And there have been times where both of them have emailed me and said, Dr. Rhonda, is there anything you need me to do for you today? Because I was forgetting to send them things to do, because I was so busy doing things myself. Because I was like, okay, I need to send this to Vic, or I need to send this to Daniel, or let me just do it myself. And I was forgetting to send them things. So AI was actually helping me and reminding me to send things to them. So I would be working on something, and it would say, okay, I'm going to package this up and send this over to Vic. And I would like, yes, send that to Vic for me. And it was actually sending tasks to my assistants for me that I was not thinking about. And so we were able to get a lot more done, and I was able to take a lot more things off of my plate, because I was able to use AI to help me with that. And so, and I was able to take myself out of the bottleneck. I found out that I was being the bottleneck for my company without even realizing it. And it was because I was doing too many things myself. But when I started using AI, and we were able to spread out the tasks, there were some things that AI was doing, some things that AI was able to package up and send over to my assistants for me. And then some things I was able to do myself, or take myself out of the picture altogether. And things were able to run a lot more smoothly. So, yeah, so I was able to actually delegate better, because we were able to automate things better.
That makes sense. Yeah, because AI has been kind of demonized, but it definitely can be of assistance, of a great help. Absolutely. So we have a comment. So thanks for joining us, Coach Boyd. We appreciate you. He says, my mother has that problem. She's a great woman, but she doesn't know how to rest, and it's hurting her mentally and physically.
Yes, absolutely. I know that feeling.
When you're speaking, I'm like, I identify with that, with just, rest and grace. And so absolutely. Let's see here. So Tanali says that delegation piece is so important, and something I had to learn, relinquish later in my life, because I'm so used to doing it all myself, but it's draining. Delegation is divine.
Yes, it is. When you can delegate and feel good about it, and know that the work is still getting done, it's a beautiful thing. But what I've found, the way that you delegate and have faith that it's done, is you have to teach. You can't have faith that it's done if you're not teaching them how to do it. And if they don't know what your what your process is, if they don't know how you want it done, then they're not going to do it the way you want it done. And then what's going to happen is they're going to do it the way they think it's supposed to be done. And then you're going to get upset because it's not done the way you wanted it done, but you never took the time to teach them how to do it the way you wanted it done. And the reason why you didn't teach them how to do it the way it was supposed to be done is because you convinced yourself that it was going to take too much time to teach them how to do it, and it was just easier to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And that was what I was going through. I was like, okay, it's going to take too much time to teach them how to do it. I'll just do it myself. So next thing you know, I'm doing everything myself, and I'm paying people to just sit there and ask me what to do. I can't do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another couple questions, and I'm gonna get you out of here. Okay. So how do you feel your experience in the military shaped your mindset and approach to business and leadership?
Um, I would say this. Delegation is something that I actually learned in the military, but it was a bit different because in the Army, we learned training. That's what we do. In the Army, we train. So we know that when a soldier comes to us, they have a certain amount of training. They know how to do something. So when we give them a task, we know that they know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's a little bit different on the outside because we don't know what a person's level of experience is when they come to us.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, with AI and with people kind of embellishing their resumes, sometimes people will say that they know how to do something that they really don't know how to do. So we're sometimes a little bit more careful.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that I have learned how to break things down. So when I do teach, um, I break it down to teach just like I did when I was in the Army. This is the way we do it.
Mm-hmm.
You do this, you do this, you do this, and you do this. And so when I train the same way I did in the Army. Not yelling, and I don't mean that because believe it or not, we don't. That's not the way we train in the Army.
I'm thinking. I thought that was part of it.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's not the way we train in the Army. Yeah, we do yell sometimes, but no, we're not always training like that. And we're not making you do push-ups all the time.
Like push-ups. I'm thinking it's probably boot camp a lot of the time, like push-ups.
Yeah, that's basic training, but no, when we actually have what's called sergeant's time, where we actually do real training, where we actually do real teaching for our soldiers. And we teach, we break it down. This is the way you do this, this is the way you do that. And that's the way I teach. And so, in fact, I have a day job, and I'm actually going to have what I'm calling a stand down, and I'm going to be teaching my employees some certain things because I'm like, I can either keep getting frustrated that my employees don't know certain things, but have I taken the time to teach them these things? And so we're taking 2 days so I can teach them exactly what I need them to know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to do anything else but this training, just like we did in the Army. And I'm going to be doing the same thing for my assistants for Meet the World Image Solutions. We're going to take some time where I'm going to teach them exactly what I need them to do. And that makes us a better company. Just like on my day job, it makes us a better team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So that's what I plan to do with that. But um, that's how my military experience kind of kicks in when it comes to running my company. Is it's just teaching, but then also knowing that everybody learns differently.
That's really
I can't teach everybody the same way. Um, where one person learns by doing, another person learns by seeing, or another person learns by hearing. Another person may learn by doing it a few different times. They can't just take it. You teach them one time and then they're good. You have to show them a few different times. So you have to learn different learning styles or different teaching styles, and then take it from there. And that's what I've had to experience with the people who I work with on a daily basis.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I have one last question before I'm going to ask you where people can find you. So, what is one major key you want listeners to walk away with today?
One major key that I want people to walk away with today is knowing that there's so many.
Like, what's your favorite R&B song? Like, don't do that. don't do that, because it's a whole
No,
bunch.
I won't do that. I would say just always be open to something new. Just like I was talking about a little earlier when I was saying it, everybody learns something differently. I decided to get into AI, and I know I touched on AI a few times during this interview, but I decided to get into it because for me, I needed to learn something new. I had gotten into a situation in my business where I felt stuck, where I was doing I know a lot about a lot of things, or I should say, I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I had gotten to a situation in my business where I did feel stuck, where I needed to learn something new and apply some new ways of doing some things. And I knew a little bit about AI, and I was applying AI to the way I was doing business. But I felt like I needed to get a little bit deeper in it. And I wanted to do more than what I saw a lot of people doing. A lot of people were using AI to make cute pictures or to do videos. And I'm like, those are nice, but I know that there's more to it. I
Absolutely.
wanted to learn how to use AI to make my business better. Like I said, I wanted to do automations with my business. I wanted to learn how to make AI agents. I wanted to learn how to expand my business using AI. And it's been a learning experience, but I've been able to do a lot with it. So I say all of this to say is don't be afraid of learning something new, because you never know how it's going to affect your business, how it's going to affect your brand, and how it's going to affect you personally. I'm 52 years old and learning something totally new, something that I did not even think was possible. And it keeps me up at night, not because I'm worried, because I'm excited. I mean, one time I was up all night building websites, and I'm like, I'm not a techie person, but I'm sitting here building websites and building AI agents. And just last month, I didn't even think it was possible. And now I'm sitting here figuring out how I can help other businesses do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So don't ever think that you're too old to learn something new. Don't think that you have a block in your mind to where you can't learn something new. You can actually pivot. Just the only thing stopping you from doing it is yourself.
That's right. That's right. All right. So tell my listeners, where can they find you? And I will also put it in the thread as well so that they can follow you, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Okay. Well, first of all, you can go to my website, www.mtwimagesolutions.com. You can find me on Instagram at Meet the World Image Solutions. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm also on TikTok, and I'm even on Pinterest now.
I love it.
And Threads. And believe it or not, I'm on all of these platforms because AI helps me.
Say less. Absolutely. Right. AI is definitely a good tool. And you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't learn it, especially in business. You really have to, just to even be able to keep up. And like you said, to even when those moments when you're unstuck. So absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. All
Yes.
right.
And if I can just say one last thing, because I would be remiss if I did not say it. One of the one last thing that I've been able to do because of everything that I've been able to accomplish has been meeting Lucky. And you mentioned Lucky is the one who introduced me to you.
Yes.
And I want to just give him a huge shout out. And I met him through the Creators' Rights Movement.
Okay.
And The Creators' Rights Movement is an amazing organization, and what we have been doing is trying to reach more creators to just join forces and helping to advocate to change the copyright laws. The copyright laws are outdated. And what we are trying to do is advocate for perpetual copyright. What we want is for when people apply to copyright their work, we want that work to be copyrighted forever. Because right now, what happens is that if somebody applies for copyright, that copyright is only good until 70 years after that creator passes away. And then that work goes into public domain, and then anybody can benefit from it, and not that creator's family. And we think that's unfair. So because if that work is making money, if somebody finds that work later and decides to make a movie out of it or anything like that, that means that somebody else is going to make money and not that creator's family. And that's not right.
I agree.
So we want people to sign a petition to so we can have perpetual copyright for all creators.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that makes sense. I remember reading, I'm like, what? Like,
yes.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's just basically all I have for you today. I'm so grateful for you, Dr. Lawson. Thank you so much for coming on today and for what you do. I'm going to be in contact with you.
Please do. Please do. I want to hear more about your book. So yes, let's stay in touch.
Absolutely. Will do. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. You have a great night.
You too. All right. Well, you heard it here, right? And I'm definitely staying in contact. Look, she got a client. I'm just saying. So this conversation was so powerful, and I'm so grateful to you all for tuning in. I do see a couple of your comments. Let's see here. Tonality says, Lord, deliver us from our inner control freak. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Please deliver us, Lord. Help us, right? Absolutely. Derek says, good evening, supers. I'm late. I'll have to watch it later. Hope all is well. Hi, Mom. Absolutely. Derek, we appreciate whatever you're able to catch. Definitely appreciate you. And Mommy is doing so much better. So thank you for that. All right. So let's see here. Is there anything else? Put her in touch with IMWOC. Okay. Absolutely. Will do. All right. So there's that was a really powerful conversation. And there is something about hearing stories of transformations that reminds us it's never too late, right? To be open, to give grace, grow, and step fully in who we are called to be. Walk in purpose, on purpose, right? Major keys were definitely dropped today, period. It really was. Discipline, clarity, resilience, and the courage to reinvent yourself without apology, right? If this episode spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure that you're sharing it across all platforms, right? Now, y'all already know that I am not going to end this episode without getting this affirmation in. It ain't changed. I know it's been a minute since I've been on, but y'all know how it is on a Tuesday. Surprised you didn't hear my stomach growling, right? All right, so let me go ahead and get this affirmation in. It should let me. All right, so my affirmation for today is I move boldly in direction of my purpose. Divine order guides my steps, and every door meant for me opens with ease. I release fear, I embrace power, and I trust the unfolding of my highest good. All right, so let that sit with you. All right, so of course, I'm so grateful for all of y'all for listening. Shout out to my mama. Mama, thank you so much. I know she's resting, but she said, I'm still going to listen. So thank you so much for my guest, Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Thank you so much for the jewels that you've dropped today, the seeds that you planted. Definitely appreciate you. To all my listeners tonight, I appreciate y'all. So yeah, let's see here. What else? Let me go ahead and get this housekeeping in right quick so I can get out of here. Y'all already know. I don't know what I'm going to eat for dinner tonight. I don't even know. Something good though. So of course, across, you want to follow and like and share across all platforms. On YouTube, it's Relationship Soup, period. You got to put the period or you're going to be somewhere else, right? And then Relationship Soup Group on Facebook. If you want to follow me, it's RelationshipSoupLLC. All right. And then, of course, y'all already know what I'm going to say. Y'all already know. Hello, me. Get your copy on Amazon. Get your copy. It's on Apple, Kindle, Barnes and Nobles. It's everywhere. Hello Me is everywhere, right? So, and it, like I said, if you want a signed copy, I will be dropping those dates soon with the events coming up. Kind of had to push some things back. DM me, let me know, and we can definitely work something out. Remember, positive affirmations for children. This is my 100-page positive affirmation book for children, picture book. Let me give y'all a little sample. I just try to show y'all some of these pages because I'm telling you, these illustrations are amazing, right? E is for extraordinary, right? So hopefully you're telling yourself how extraordinary you are, right? That is so important. All right, so let's see. Is there anything else? Let me make sure I'm not missing no more comments. Yes, get that Hello Me book. Please get it. I hear some list. Hey, you probably do. You probably do. Oh goodness. Thank you so much, Mark Lee. I appreciate you. Blessing. Thank you so much, Demetric. You know, I appreciate you, Pastor. Thank you so much, cousin. I appreciate all the love. You know what? Look, I gotta nurture it here first, Mark Lee. Look, we growing it here. Look, we got it, we gotta get it here, you know, grow it here, but it's coming. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's all I got to say is stay tuned. Can't give out all my secrets, right? Yes. So, all right, y'all. Well, I definitely appreciate you. You know, as always, it starts with you. It always starts with you, right? You got to believe in yourself, give yourself grace, love on yourself, right? Because it always starts with you. So until we meet next time, peace.